Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Karen Huger dragged for making excuses about her drunk driving in RHOP sneak peek. The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 9 premiere is just around the corner, and the show is already sparking conversation online. Karen Huger is featured in a sneak peek from Episode 1, titled A Crash Course in Deflection. The title is a play on the Grande Dame's DUI and DUI charges from March 2024 after she crashed her Maserati while driving in Maryland. The initial reports from TMZ stated that the Bravo housewife struck a median and crosswalk sign at an intersection, then continued and collided with a parking sign. Karen's car was badly damaged, but no one was hurt in the single-vehicle collision. She spoke to the media outlet soon after and reported that she was very emotional before the accident but was doing okay. Karen's DUI accident will take center stage in Season 9, and we'll have to wait and see how much is shared. The countdown has officially begun for Season 9 of RHOP, and conversations have already kicked off on social media. In a sneak peek for the premiere, Karen's legal troubles are a topic of conversation. "I think everything that I'm going through contributed to my accident," says Karen in her confessional. "Grief, marriage problems, everything has something to do with where I am emotionally." An ex-user posted the clip and wrote, "Really disappointing to see Karen making excuses for driving drunk. This is her second DUI. She should know better by now and take responsibility for her actions." Several RHOP viewers responded to the post and agreed with the ex-user's sentiment that Karen lacked accountability. Is she really gonna sit here and put blame on the fact she was grieving from her parents, passing almost 7 years ago? 7 years? Exclaimed a commenter. What's worse is the excuses Karen is making are all from situations in 2018 and 2020. Not that they can't still be traumatic for her now, but there's been time to seek help that it's seeming she didn't do, added someone else. An ex-user confessed, "I am not surprised, but this is a complete lack of accountability. By calling it an incident is not taking any ownership. Not surprising coming from Karen." Meanwhile, an RHOP viewer reasoned that the negative comments were premature, writing, "Damn, can we watch the entire first episode and season before saying this based on a 7-minute intro to the season? We don't know what she'll say throughout the season, it could change. Are people being too hard on Karen given that the full episode hasn't aired yet? Tell us what you think in the comment section below." In a fiery sneak peek of the Real Housewives of Potomac, Karen Huger found herself in hot water yet again, and this time, there was no Grande Dame grace to save her. The ladies of Potomac were gathered for what should have been a relaxed and fun dinner, but as always, the drama bubbled just beneath the surface, ready to explode at any moment. And explode it did, this time, with Karen at the center. The table was set, the wine was flowing, and the air was thick with tension. Karen, who had arrived fashionably late with her usual air of elegance, had barely taken her seat before the conversation turned toward a scandalous rumor making its way through the group. Ashley Darby, with her signature smirk, couldn't resist bringing up the subject that everyone had been whispering about: Karen's recent run-in with the law over a supposed DUI. "So, Karen," Ashley began, swirling her wine glass with a sly grin, "what's this I'm hearing about your little incident?" Karen's eyes narrowed, already sensing the ambush. She adjusted herself in her chair, clearly trying to maintain composure. "Incident?" She repeated, her tone cool and collected. "I'm not sure what you're talking about, dear." "Oh, come on now, Karen," Ashley pressed, leaning forward, her smile widening. "You know exactly what I'm talking about. The rumors about you getting pulled over for drunk driving. You've been avoiding this conversation for weeks." The rest of the ladies exchanged glances, their curiosity piqued. Gizelle Bryant, ever the instigator, raised an eyebrow, her lips curling into a knowing smile. "Yes, Karen," she chimed in. "We've all heard about it. Care to explain? Karen sighed dramatically, dabbing at her mouth with a napkin as if to buy herself time. Ladies, let me clarify, she began, her voice dripping with mock sincerity. There's been a gross misunderstanding. Yes, I was pulled over, but I wasn't drunk. I had 1 glass of wine, one. And I think we can all agree that's hardly a crime. Robin Dixon snorted, rolling her eyes. 1 glass of wine? Karen, please. That's the oldest excuse in the book. How many times have we heard that before? Karen's patience was thinning, but she kept her expression neutral. I understand how this might look to some people, but I am telling you the truth. I was not intoxicated. It was a misunderstanding with the officer. I was pulled over for a minor traffic violation. Nothing more, nothing less. Candace Dillard, ever the queen of dramatic entrances, jumped in with her typical flair. Karen, darling, we love you, but you've got to stop pretending like we're all idiots. People don't just get misunderstood by the police when it comes to DUIs. And if it was so innocent, why haven't you said anything about it until now? Karen's face hardened at the challenge. Because I didn't feel the need to broadcast every detail of my life to the world, she snapped, her grande dame persona slipping just slightly. I have nothing to prove to any of you. I know what happened, and that's all that matters. But the ladies weren't having it. Giselle, ever the sharp-tongued one, leaned in, her eyes gleaming with the thrill of confrontation. You can sit there and say whatever you want, Karen, but the facts are the facts. You were pulled over for drunk driving, and now you're sitting here trying to make excuses for it. Karen bristled, clearly growing tired of being backed into a corner. I am not making excuses, Giselle. I'm explaining what actually happened, something I don't owe any of you. But the group wasn't backing down. Robin, who had been suspiciously quiet, finally spoke up, her voice laced with frustration. Karen, this is the same thing you do every time. You get caught in something, and instead of just umming up to it, you try to deflect or make it seem like everyone else is crazy for even questioning you. The tension at the table grew thicker, with Karen's typically poised facade showing cracks. I don't appreciate the insinuation, Robin, Karen shot back, her voice tight. I'm telling you the truth, and it's unfortunate that you all want to believe the worst. Ashley, never one to let an opportunity for drama pass, leaned in closer, her eyes sparkling with mischief. So, Karen, if you were so innocent, why did the officer ask you to step out of the car? Why were there sobriety tests? Because that's not something they just do for a minor traffic violation. For a split second, Karen's mask of calm faltered. She pursed her lips and took a deep breath, trying to maintain her composure. I wasn't drunk, Ashley, and the tests were routine. The officer was being overly cautious, and that's all there is to it. Giselle let out a low chuckle, shaking her head. Karen girl, you are something else. Always spinning the story to make yourself look like the victim. We've all been through enough drama to know when someone's dodging the truth. The accusations swirled around Karen like a storm, and for the first time in a long time, the grande dame seemed genuinely rattled. Her hands fidgeted slightly in her lap, and she struggled to keep her voice steady. I am not dodging anything. I don't need to defend myself to any of you. My reputation speaks for itself. Candace, who had been silently observing the back and forth, couldn't resist throwing one last barb. Karen, your reputation might speak for itself, but right now, it's saying you're full of it. A tense silence followed Candace's words, with all eyes locked on Karen, her jaw clenched, and for a moment, it seemed like she might snap back with a cutting remark. But instead, she straightened her posture, lifted her chin, and took a slow sip of her wine. Well, Karen said after a long pause, her voice icy, it's clear that no matter what I say, some of you have already made up your minds. So I won't waste my breath trying to convince you otherwise. But I'll say this, don't come for me unless you're prepared for what's coming your way. You all should know by now that the grande dame always prevails. With that, She set her wine glass down with a quiet clink, the unspoken challenge hanging in the air. But as the night wore on, it was clear that the ladies weren't buying Karen's excuses, and for the first time, the Grande Dame was left without a graceful exit.